Hey everybody, it's Francis, and I want to welcome you to the new What a Hell of a Way to Dad podcast. All of the same content that you've been enjoying, but Nate and I have not been in the military for multiple years at this point, and we've decided that what we really want to talk about is parenting. So you're going to still get a lot of the same great content. Patreon is still going to have all of our bonus episodes, all of the old bonus episodes, 8 years of bonus content is still there. $5 a month gets you access to all of that, and you will continue to get 3 episodes a month going beyond that. We've got our ongoing Deadliest Warrior series that we're running. We have a MASHcast that I do with Carrie. We have a lot of really great stuff over there, so if you like what you hear in here and you want to hear a little bit more, patreon.com/hellofawaitodie is where to find all of that. You can also check out our store, whatahellofawaytodad.com. It has all the things from our old store, but also it's got a few new sections. It's got an apparel section, it's got the podcast attic, and it has art and handmade stuff. So give it a look. whatahellofawaytodad.com. Find yourself something new. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
And he also frames himself as like this unarmed self-defense expert in the system known as Systema. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this.
I did a little research into it. Yeah, the other our other guy, Maxim Franz, is also a martial artist.
They work together. But Maxim no longer works for him because apparently, according to GunTuber drama boards that I found in the Wayback Machine, they someone fucked somebody else's wife.
Yep, that'll do it.
And so for people who aren't,
well, at least that way you know they actually are soldiers. So you know.
For people who don't have like a deeply fucked up brain when it comes to weird martial arts systems, Systema is easily described as Russian Krav Maga, but magical.
It is very much like you ever watched the videos of Steven Seagal fighting people with he's got his whole karate get up on, and the very slow, like him taking everything down. That's what Systema feels like.
Steven Seagal did a different form of stupid fake martial arts that doesn't work. It's called Aikido. But Systema is the same vibes as Krav Maga in that it's supposed to be like the super dangerous martial arts system trained to police and military that you totally can't do in live sparring simply because it's so dangerous it'll kill you. But also it's like uses energy and fucking chakras and shit. It is. If you want to be endlessly entertained, look up YouTube videos of Systema people. They're fucking incredible.
I did. I watched one where they had to they kind of get into the push-up position, but like their chest is really low and they're having to I've seen people, okay, you get up on your knuckles, right? You get up on your knuckles and you do push-ups with your knuckles on, but they're like, it's like the heels of their palms and they have to swirl around or something. Like, oh yes, this is how we warm up.
My personal favorite one that I saw was a French Systema channel, which I believe is just called like French Systema or something, but they go to Russia to train all the time because it's like the Hajj for stupid probably not anymore, I assume, but like it was this anyway. Long story short, it ends up being these two Frenchmen getting a martial arts massage by a large Russian man with a stick that is like drawing blood. In the meanwhile, for some reason, there is a man in the background lying on the floor with a sword just laid down on top of him because it's supposed to give him masculine energy. It's incredible. It's fucking amazing.
That's how I sleep every night. I mean, realistically, we're about like, I don't know, maybe 10 years away from someone people doing that with AR-15s.
People are already doing that with AR-15s. There's a whole church about it. Like one of the Moonies guys' weird kids created a church of like the AR-15.
Oh yeah, I just mean like it'll be a thing like every we'll get a new GOP U.S. Senate candidate who is just going to talk about how they sleep with a pile of handguns on their head every night to make sure that they respect the Second Amendment.
Yeah. I mean, like the Systema dudes are doing weird alpha male toxic content creator shit so many years before it was cool.
Yeah, these guys, like the one time the Soviets are ahead of the curve on something.
This isn't a Soviet
guys on the
thing.
internet with guns.
This is not a Soviet thing. It is 100% a Russian thing.
Right. Okay. Well, I understand. There's regardless, everything that these guys do. Every time that Sony is out doing anything gun stuff, I have to laugh because he's doing I don't know what it is about Russian soldiers and loving to do flippy shit and loving to roll around on the ground and like take themselves out. Like, okay, I need to get it from here to there. I should take myself out of the fight for 1 to 3 seconds as I roll around in the dirt.
I have to do a backhand spring into a fucking
right
triple double or whatever.
One of the most famous, pictures of the Spetsnaz is that guy who's doing a backflip with a hatchet in his hand. And
I believe he's throwing it at a flaming target or something.
Right, and like much like most things that you get from the Russian military and from a lot of other militaries that always seem to try to kind of pump themselves up, especially against Americans. You watch that and you're like, wow, that looks pretty cool, but also it's completely fucking useless. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the parades, like the Indian military strongmen who they'll just like put on vehicles on the roof of a vehicle and drive them around while they do push-ups.
I know
like,
Egypt did that once too. It ruled.
Egypt. Egypt.
Well, then like the Spetsnaz will do the thing where like they always have the videos where they'll interdict a car, but instead of just shooting out the engine block, they like
just jump through the window.
They jump through the windshield, or like they all jump in through different parts of the car for some reason.
There's a reason for that, and it's as dumb as you can possibly imagine. It is because there is something of the Soviet post-Soviet military sphere, which I've dealt with personally to some extent, where in lieu of like a system in place with good quality training, they do shit that they think is cool.
Right.
Like a good example of this, there's a militia organization in Armenia, which I won't name, who invited me to go and look at their training facility. And they were like, they're supposed to train people on just like like the most basic training you can possibly imagine. That I mean, like basic handling of a weapon, because they don't have supplies to do much else, right? And I show up and they're teaching people how to throw knives, and like abseil off of cliffs and shit. And it's because like in the dirt, like the fucking black hole of quality military, like modern military training, they fill that with shit they think looks awesome.
Yeah, with cool guy stuff. With like they're doing epic military shit instead of that they saw in, once again, a Steven Seagal movie. Back when he would get up Alpha's Lazy Boy, rather than anything real. Like this would be like if my dumb Coast Guard ass was trying to teach people how to do sweet like special ops military shit. It'd be like, I don't know, like rappel off of that building, because that seems like something that guys do.
Rappelling is something that you should absolutely might need to learn. Now, rolling around in the dirt during combat operations is nothing that I never learned any of that.
I always had to crawl under some barbed wire a few times. That's about it.
I've learned I'm up, he sees me, I'm down when you're doing your 3 to 5 second rush, but there was never a flip in there. There was never.
It's because we weren't taught the gospel of violence of the Spetsnaz.
I mean, so like my dumb lawyer ass was watching this and just like thinking about how you ensured this fucking program during this period, because like
we're gonna talk about that because
like similar to like what Joe was saying earlier, like there's just several portions of this where they're either rolling around or doing other things where I'm like, that is the most unsafe possible fucking way you could do that. And I
should point out that this is the safest that Sonny has ever done any of this shit. After looking at any of his video, like there's one video where he teaches like pistol disarms, which like is not a thing that you should try to do in a form of self. Like nobody's listening to this podcast to learn about self-defense. But if somebody points a gun at you, just give them your fucking wallet. That's the only lesson you need to learn.
Yeah,
but
give them whatever the fuck they want, because they
in Sonny's video, many videos for that matter, and he's good on record to defend this, is he points a loaded fucking gun at trainees when they go through these drills, and it includes shooting those guns. So like they're loaded, the safety is off, and his finger is on the trigger as these people grab the gun and try to manipulate it in training and shit. Like, this man is a lunatic.
Weird that he shot a guy 3 times. Can't imagine how that happened. Anyway,
3 times.
How it was only one guy.
Yeah. 3 times. That was in a shoot house situation, like doing room clearing, which makes it even funnier.
Yeah. Well, I feel like he came onto the set of a TV show and somebody was like, "All right, Sonny, you're gonna have to fucking tone it down a little bit. You are too on
nuts
here."
I like how he talks about how important the Spetsnaz training is, and it just comes down to like we haze the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, and the Green Berets kind of bring that up too. Is like they're just kind of beating each other, and then you've got a guy injured. It's like, what use is that? Like, don't get me wrong, Special Forces has its own kind of hazing as well, but I do feel like they pull it back before you permanently injure somebody on purpose.
Well, like Nate and I can talk a little bit about this, is because like for instance, selection course for Special Forces is pretty much hazing.
Right.
But it's more structured than you're not just getting chained to a chair, getting brained by a guy named Vlad for 2 hours.
Right. You're not sleeping. You're not eating. You're humping gear for
it's miserable.
15 hours straight. It's miserable, but nobody's beating you.
Right. You're not being like possibly murdered by your sergeant for funsies.
Right.
When I give my guy like full credit for going full Bond villain in these interviews too. He's just like, and then we kill them if they don't train, and it's just like, and like he's like lit like he's a fucking ghoul. Like it's just the whole thing is just absolutely.
And to be
like,
fair, that's not like a selection that the Deadliest Warrior made. He always looks like that.
Yeah.